This is the life update since the miscarriage videos that I posted in late 2019. Hi everybody, welcome back to Bustling Home. I have 3 areas I'd like to give you updates on. 1 is our developing homestead. 2 is homeschooling, since we have started doing more of that with the bigs and the middles. And 3 is related to the miscarriage videos from last year again. So first of all, we are developing our homestead more and more every day. Well, maybe not every day, but little by little we're getting there. This year we put in a 3,700 square foot vegetable garden, our first vegetable garden. And that might have been a little ambitious, but we did it anyhow. And apparently I completely overplanted it because I have no sense of scale. You can go and check that out in the video tour of our vegetable garden that I posted just a bit ago. I'll put a link to that in the description box below. Basically, the garden's overtaken with weeds. We did get some harvest out of it, and it's been some pretty good stuff, but most of it's weeds. And we have a lot of improvements for next year. Our berry patch is humming along, our orchard is humming along. Those are basically in maintenance mode until they start producing maybe next year, because they've been in for a couple of years for the most part. Number 2 is homeschooling. My big kids are going to be 5 years old this month. This is September of 2020. My little kids are about 3.5, or I guess they're my middle kids, because I'm still calling the little ones babies, even though they're going to be 2 in a couple of months. The 5-year-olds are actually working on reading pretty well, especially my 5-year-old son. He's reading almost anything. I mean, he can read almost all of an adult Bible, even. My 5-year-old daughter isn't quite as advanced in reading, but she's keeping up with her lessons just fine, of course. And she's really excelling with handwriting. She loves doing handwriting. So they each have their own strengths, and I try to play that up that they can help each other, and everybody has their own strengths, everybody has their own weaknesses. And I'm finding my way as a homeschool mom. This isn't a COVID homeschooling thing. We had planned to do this all along. And they wouldn't have been eligible for kindergarten anyhow because they turn 5 years old 15 days after the cutoff for kindergarten. So we've been using All About Reading, A Reason for Handwriting, and a smattering of other things that we mix into it, but we're not doing a lot of formal schooling at this point. I'm using Math Mammoth as a guide for what they should be working on or could be working on in math. They're using the first grade set because they know their numbers, they know how to count, they know how to skip count, that sort of thing. It's just, I have no idea what comes next. I don't know how to teach addition, I don't know how to teach subtraction. I learned it so long ago that I have no idea how to communicate it. I would probably have an easier time teaching calculus than addition, because calculus I remember learning, so I remember how I learned it. On to the miscarriage-related stuff. This is the less cheerful part of this video. After the miscarriage last year in the fall, I went back for an embryo transfer again at the end of January 2020. We ended up with twins. And I was very happy that we were having twins again because I love having twins. It's daunting thinking of a 4th set of twins, but we can do it. We've done it 3 other times. And I went in for the first ultrasound. I saw 2 heartbeats. Okay, great. Everything's moving along fine. Go in for my first OB appointment. Baby B's heart had stopped. So I lost 1 twin. I schedule out my other appointments for the remaining baby. And I went in for the first trimester screening, and baby A's heart had stopped. So I lost 1 at 8 weeks, 5 days, and I lost the second at 15 weeks, 5 days. And I don't think I'm ever going to experience a pregnancy the same again if I can ever get past first trimester again or early second trimester, because I'm always going to have that fear that I'm going to lose the baby or the babies. And that might be the case. I had 3 successful pregnancies, but now I've had 2 fully miscarried pregnancies in a row. And the doctor ran some tests to see if there was any sort of a clotting disorder that had come up since the early pregnancies, and there's nothing. There's just no evidence of anything, nothing. We have nothing to go on. And the doctor said that I could talk to somebody about reproductive immunology, but that costs thousands of dollars on top of everything we've already invested in this. It may or may not help. It might not give us any answers. It might not make the outcome any different. And it could be a health detriment to me just to try it, even if it doesn't succeed. So in our minds, at least, it doesn't make sense to go that way. Probably the hardest parts of this for me are that this is not the way I expected our family building years to end, and it might not be the end. I mean, we still have 4 frozen embryos left, and maybe the next embryo transfer will be fine. I don't know. But I really hope this isn't the way that it ends. I'm very grateful and happy with the 6 kids we have, and I don't mean to diminish that. But I didn't expect such a sudden end to it. We don't have a clear path forward right now, because we don't know why I miscarried any of the 3 times. The doctor has some ideas of things that we could check if we do an embryo transfer and we get heartbeats, or a heartbeat even, but there's no guarantee that'll make any difference. So we're looking at a few options on maybe how to bend the odds in our favor. I don't really have a good path forward, and it's always hard for me when I don't know where I'm going. I'm a very goal-oriented person. I need a goal. I need something to work on, and I just don't have enough information right now to have a goal. There's nothing I can do about this. I have no control over it. And I hate that. I really hate it. But I can't change it. So I think our path forward on that front is work on some health issues for Jeff. Nothing serious. And depending on how that goes, at some point we will do 2 more frozen embryo transfers of 2 embryos each. And the timing will entirely depend on how successful they are and how Jeff's health treatment goes. So I'm hoping that at least by the end of 2020, we will have some forward motion in that area, have some kind of concrete path we're heading towards. I could really use something like that. I need some sort of forward motion and eventually some sort of closure. And I really hope, at least for my peace of mind, that it can mean 1, maybe 2 more babies in our family. I'd be fine with the 4th set of twins. I'm sure we can handle it. We're doing just fine with 3 sets of twins. So even if one of the 2 embryo transfers works and gives us a 4th set of twins and the other one completely fails, I think I could handle that. Or if we have 1 single pregnancy and the other one completely fails, I'd probably be able to handle that too, knowing that I had 1 successful pregnancy and the next one might not succeed. If they both fail, I don't know what I'll do. I'm sure I'll handle it somehow, but I'm not sure exactly how right now. Doing another IVF cycle is not an option. There's a reason we did IVF, so natural conception is obviously not straightforward for us. That's been hard, and I don't have any more information at this point. In the meantime, I am trying to focus on building our homestead and getting some routines in place for homeschooling. So at least in some areas of our lives, I'm trying to impose some goals and work towards something to feel like I'm doing something useful in my life. It's hard to be a stay-at-home mom of a bunch of little kids, especially when I'm used to having a goal and achieving those goals and doing something that I can see progress. Staying at home with 6 little kids, sometimes the day is just keeping everybody alive and keeping the house in one piece. That doesn't feel like much of an achievement some days, even though it probably should be. And so I'm trying to give myself a little bit more satisfaction in my day-to-day. If you have any ideas on how to do that or tips on how you do that, drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. How do you give yourself a sense of achievement and a sense of success and purpose in your life as a stay-at-home parent, especially if you have a bunch of little kids?